As far as great roads go, this has to be one of the most spectacular, the most famous and the most popular. It is, of course, the Pacific Coast Highway that runs between Los Angeles and San Francisco. So let's see if it lives up to everything that we've seen in countless TV shows and Hollywood movies.
PCH, as it is known, or officially the California State Route 1, starts in Orange County south of Los Angeles in Dana Point, where it intersects with the I-5 freeway and runs the majority of the way along the California coast, past San Francisco to a small town called Leggett, where it meets Highway 101. Over that distance, it spans a total length of 1,055 kilometres and cuts through iconic places such as Santa Monica Beach in LA, the wealthy beachside enclaves of Malibu and Santa Barbara, as well as crossing the Golden Gate Bridge in San Fran and the spectacular Sonoma shoreline north of the Bay City. Today, we're travelling along the most iconic section of it, the Central Coast from Cambria to the Monterey Peninsula, taking in the Big Sur National Park.
And we've got the perfect car for it, a Mazda MX-5. Quick enough when you need it to be, great fun through the corners, but most importantly, a convertible so we can take in these spectacular views.
If you want to start in Cambria, it's about 3.5 hours drive straight up the I-5 freeway from LA, and then start in Paso Robles towards the coast. Or you can take the 101 through Ventura and San Luis Obispo, which takes about half an hour longer.
Don't think it'll be a quick trip though, there's plenty to see along the way, and you'll be stopping often to check out that view. One of the first tourist attractions you'll come across is Hearst Castle, just up there on the hill.
Hearst Castle is a National Historic Landmark on the California coast. It's not quite a castle, but it is a mansion that was built for newspaper magnate William Randolph Hearst in the early 1900s. Constructing the mansion back then was a feat all of its own. In fact, it had to have its own wharf built down on the coast, which is now used by tourists and fishermen alike. The mansion itself is as eccentric as its owner, and allegedly there were some epic parties held here back in the 1920s. Just up the road is a more natural tourist attraction, the Piedras Blancas Elephant Seal Rookery, where you can get up close and personal with some of the local wildlife. While they're spectacular to look at in their own natural environment, well, the smell isn't that pleasant.
With scenery like this, it's hard not to stop every kilometre or so. It is simply spectacular. And it seems I'm not the only one who's chosen a convertible for this road too. There are literally hundreds of tourists who have rented Mustangs out of LA and are heading up the Pacific Coast Highway. As spectacular as the landscape is, this road is just as epic. It just climbs up the side of the cliffs, literally falls off the edge of the world down there, but you can really enjoy the car. This is a great drive.
The massive mountain ranges that rise from the ocean create a uniquely cool climate, as it's only about 20 degrees. Over the mountains and in the San Bernardino Valley where we've just come from, it's probably bright and sunny and double the temperature. And at the tail end of a hot summer, these mountains are also prone to some pretty dangerous wildfires. So make sure you keep up to date with the news in case there's any local road closures affecting your drive.
There's also a few areas where rock slides are quite prevalent, so be prepared to just come around the corner and suddenly the traffic is stopped. Well, after hugging the coastline, about 3/4 of the way up to Monterey, you head inland for a little bit through the Big Sur, which is an amazing redwood forest. It is just as spectacular.
Here, you can stay overnight in one of the campgrounds, or it's one of the few places where you can fill up your tank and your stomach. One of the most famous landmarks along this drive is the iconic Bixby Bridge. The spectacular bridge towers over a canyon and river below it, and is chockers full of tourists trying to get that postcard shot.
Well, apart from being stuck in an LA traffic jam, that was the slowest 160 kilometres I've ever done. But the Pacific Coast Highway is not just a great piece of road, it is a great drive at whatever pace you take.